got to tell you, that wouldn't fly in several other places. It flies here because everybody's happy that you came home, and everybody's happy that the building sold out again, and that everybody thinks that Cleveland's just going to waltz their way to a championship and all of that. That's not reality. That's not it at all. You can't do that. And here's the thing. Forget this season. For those of you guys that actually are Cavaliers fans and care about the long term of this organization, 4 or 5 years from now, let's pretend LeBron James stays, never leaves. He's going to be here forever. Let's pretend he's here. I'm going to tell you, even if he is, LeBron James has at most 5 years left in his career. You can say I'm nuts. I guarantee you that cat is not playing past the age of 35. But the fact that he started so early and he's made so much money in his career, he will be done in 5 years. But let's look ahead 5 years to the future. Let's say LeBron, whether he's won championships or not, I don't care. Let's skip that part of this. And let's say he's getting ready to retire. And now he is trying to leave the Cavaliers in the hands of the next generation, which at that point would be Kyrie, would be the veteran on the team who's now going to be teaching the young guys. Well, guess what he learned from you, LeBron? He learned to stand around on the court, wait for everybody else to get better, and then complain about them in the media without using names, of course, and sit right next to them in the locker room and talk about how they're not doing their job, but you're just going to hang out and not get frustrated until they figure it out. Come on. So now you're setting up the future generation for failure too. And hey, look, maybe that's how the new NBA works. If that's the case, hey, you can keep it, but that's not. Don't let anybody tell you that's not. That's just how the new people want it to work. It's terrible. But many, many, many of you guys, a couple of dozen of you reached out over the weekend and said you are the first one that has said anything that's in the media about this, and that's driving me nuts. Not just that it's happening, but nobody's questioning this. Like, I'll listen to people just say, well, of course, LeBron knows how to win. He's won 2 rings. That's great. He's been there 5 times. He's won 2 rings. I could give you 100 NBA players off the top of my head, current and recently former, that have a similar resume. I can show you multiple ring winners. That's not it either, because that does help you. I'm not saying that either. Point is when did he become the sage old head in the NBA that knows how to win? Last I checked, you went to Miami, and Pat Riley and Dwayne Wade helped you learn how to win in that situation. That's all. But, whatever. He's going to come down from the mountain with his 2 Sherpas and teach you how to climb. That's great. But do it the right way. Don't look down your nose on everybody else. Don't sit next to your teammates in the locker room looking at the stat sheet and going, boy, as I rub my brow and I rub my hairline a little bit here, I'm looking. It's frustrating, but I can't let myself get frustrated because I'm a leader. These guys follow my example. Well, if you know that, then act like it, brother. That's all, because this Cavs team will figure itself out. They can. They all need to figure out how to sacrifice. And to me, the biggest thing that LeBron can learn is how to do what Dwayne Wade did, because Dwayne Wade's the one that figured it out in Miami. He's the one that said it doesn't work any other way than if I defer to LeBron and allow him to be the alpha male in this relationship. So that's what them cats got to do, is just figure out how that breaks down. Plus, it wouldn't hurt if they traded for 1 or 2 people that knew how to play defense, which I fully expect them to do. But that defensive effort can increase. I'll tell you what, I don't know if you guys have seen, but I had a couple people send me some of those memes and those different videos, the vines that people put out there. And I got a couple of those over the weekend with people saying, hey, speaking of what you were talking about, here's LeBron not playing defense on this play and that play. And I'm like, hey, man, whatever. This is not Kill LeBron James Day over here, man. You guys know that I don't like a lot of things about him. And then there's things that are okay, with him coming here and that not, but I try to walk the middle, and I try not to let the things that I don't like about him affect the way I talk about him on the show. But to me, I waited 2 weeks too long to bring this stuff up. I'm going, how is everybody else just going, yeah, that's cool, man. We got 12 scrubs in LeBron, because last I checked, you got 3 All-Stars on this team. You got a couple of decent other players to go with them, and you got plenty of guys that know how to play the game of basketball. And again, it's a work in progress, and maybe LeBron has to learn how to do what he's doing. He'll never admit that, but maybe he has to learn how to do what he's doing, and maybe he needs to figure out that the way he's been doing it was really kind of an ass way to do it, just being honest. And I don't think that you're going to get the best out of what you're trying to get. Now, I told somebody this over the weekend, and here's where I'll leave this. You can get where you want to go doing it the easy way or the more difficult way. You can still win, but I'd still think that it just shows the difference in the type of person and how you go about doing that. And, of course, I have done all of that without pointing out statistically any of the things about this team, any of the things about LeBron with his week last week. And although with the week that he had last week, it wasn't the best week to pontificate in front of the media every day about how the rest of your team needs to get better. Tonight they get a chance to do that. They're 5-7. They're back home at the Q. The Orlando Magic are the opponents here, and that's a team that gives you a chance to get healthy. I looked over the weekend, by the way, Saturday night. You guys got to help me with what in the hell happened on Saturday night's game, because I was calling that football game at InfoCision, and Matt Jaworski, he had we had a couple of monitors, so he had the Cavs game up. We were watching at halftime of the football game. We were watching just a little bit of the end of like the first half of the Cavs game or whatnot, and the Cavs were rolling. Cavs were looking good. They were looking like a team. I got to watch maybe 10, 15 minutes of the game there while I was taking my break during halftime. Then we get back to the game. I couldn't even glance over at the monitor because we were doing the thing. And so game ends, and we're in the post-game show. We took one of the breaks, and Matt points up at the monitor, and it's the score with a couple of minutes left in the game. And the Cavs were up, a dozen. Now they're down a dozen. I said, what the hell just happened with this game? And clearly the second half did not play out the way the first half did. They fell apart. That's when LeBron came out afterwards and talked about the team being fragile. And one thing goes wrong, this team folds up. And the first thing Deion Waiters did was said, it's true. He said, I'm right there guilty of it. Head goes down and right away. And I get that. But to me, that part of this shouldn't be happening. I get miscommunication and not knowing where each other are on the floor and all of that. But how can a team with the players that this team has on it, and I'm just talking about confidence, I'm not talking about wins and losses or anything else. How can you look around with LeBron James, Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving, and the remainder of your squad? But I'm just using those three as the all-stars on the team. How can you look around at a squad like that and not go into games confident in any, like, how do you go in going, well, we're going to crumble if we start to face adversity? I don't see that, because to me, I'm looking around the court and going, that's number 23. Who's that over there? Kevin Love, Kyrie Irving. Man, we can win. We can play with anybody. Like, I'm not going into games fragile. That's what I mean. I'm not going into games with that attitude. I don't know what. Somebody needs to have they need to get some swag about themselves or something here, man. They need to find an identity is what it is. Somebody needs to decide who the leader is. If it's LeBron, it's LeBron. If it's somebody else, they need to find somebody that gives that team an identity. Not the guy who stands in front of the media and pontificates about the status of the team. But whoever it is that cranks up the music in the locker room, that gets everybody laughing and joking and serious when they need to be and having fun when they need to be, that guy, whoever it is, needs to emerge on this team. They need to find a leader. They need to find a voice. They need to find an identity. And then all bets are off about how good this team can be. If that's LeBron, that's great. If you're going to be that guy, be that guy. Or go be Magic Johnson, which is what I would do on this team if I was LeBron. I'd run the point forward, I'd distribute to everybody, and I would still dominate the ball at the times of the games where I need to. But to me, looking at this squad, the challenge for me if I'm LeBron, which I'm not, is just going to a whole nother level of leadership with this here. And again, maybe he's figuring that out. But once these cats figure out their identity, that's it. Somebody's got to step up and be a true leader. Not the leader that walks on the court and says, hey, everybody, it's time to practice. But the one that, when he calls all the boys up at 10 o'clock at night on a off night and says, hey, man, Let's go run through some stuff at the gym. I'm just making this up. I don't know if anybody goes and has extra practice nowadays, but you know what I mean. The guy that makes the phone calls, the guy that says, hey, you know what? We're stressed out. Group night. Let's go grab dinner together as a team. Those type of things behind the scenes build a team. Somebody be a leader. Step up and be that person. Make this a team instead of a group of individuals who stand in front of the media and point out what everybody else is not doing wrong. That's all. And it'll happen. It'll come. Tonight's as good of a chance as any for those guys to go out there and do that. Matter of fact, my kids are heading out to that game tonight. They're going to have some fun watching the Cavs and the Magic. And we'll talk about that tomorrow. And speaking of hoops, real quick, as we wind things down for the day, CSU Vikings. Whew, they got a big one coming up Wednesday, day before Thanksgiving. They've got Louisville, top 10 game there. Challenge for them. They dropped a tough one the other day to Savannah State. Overtime game, 87-83. Vikings lost. They fell to 2-2 on the season. Trey Lewis had 27 points, 6 steals, 4 assists. Marlon Mason dropped 16. Andre Yates had 15. Anton Grady had 13 points and 7 rebounds. Missed a key free throw down the stretch, though. A couple of three-pointers by Savannah State. Vikings had the lead all the way till the end of this game. I was listening along to some of the game, and there was a foul opportunity. Grady was only able to hit one of the two, left a 2-point lead instead of 3, opened things up there for them to come back down after another switch of points. A three-pointer once again with just seconds to go for Savannah State. They sent that game to overtime, and in overtime, it was tied 83-83. Savannah State nails 4 of 6 free throws in the final minute of the game to take the victory and take that game there. A very hard-fought game. CSU shot 500 from the field, 27 of 54, but the Tigers of Savannah State shot 52%, just a hair better and just good enough for them to take care of business. As I said, Jenkins hit that three-pointer down the stretch for Savannah State to tie that game and send it into overtime, and it's too late. Javaris Jenkins led all scorers in the game, 33 points, 6 of 7 from 3, that big one down at the stretch. So now the Vikes have a day off today, and 2 days off, today and tomorrow. Then they take on Louisville. It's coming up Wednesday. We'll preview it as we get later in the week. They head down. Number 7, Louisville, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. We'll preview that, talk some more about it on Wednesday. We'll talk tomorrow. Man, short week, too. I'll get into it tomorrow. We're going to get out of here. It's been a long day, but we've tweaked things up as far as the guests this week and where they're going to show up. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com will be here tomorrow. Talk a little baseball, the latest on Kung Fu Panda signing with the Red Sox, Hanley Ramirez. We'll see what the tribe's up to and more. We'll do all of that with Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com. Dr. Football, Bill Checkus in the house as always, talking NFL. We'll talk about not 1 but 2 games tonight on Monday night. We'll talk about the Browns, look ahead to Buffalo. They play tonight. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Doug Plagans, voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, in the house tomorrow. So much more as we roll on. Thanksgiving week sports fix is only going to get more and more cooking like a turkey, baby, as we get closer to Thursday. Thank you guys for being with us. Thanks to John McMullen from the Sports Network. Thanks to Dan Wismar. Thanks to each and every one of you for being with us. As always, come back tomorrow and let's do it. Same bad time, same bad channel, live at noon here on the Sports Fix. Thanks again, too, for being officially a part of the longest edition of the Sports Fix of the year. It just happened to work out that way as we've just clocked in at 3.5 hours. Guys, fantastic show. We'll see you tomorrow live at noon across the Sports Fix Radio Network. Until then, enjoy the Cavs tonight. Monday Night Football, if that's your thing. Get into it. Come on back. Let's talk about it all tomorrow at noon right here on The Fix. We love you, Cleveland and beyond. We'll see you tomorrow here on the Sports Fix.
Out here in Cleveland, Cleveland.